Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're going to get a little bit of work done on the woodshed. If you're new here and don't know the story, I'm building a 33-foot by 12-foot woodshed completely by myself, trying to not spend any money at all. Now, I actually took some criticism for saying that the other day. They're saying, yeah, sure, because you already have all this equipment. Yeah, that's true. I do already have the equipment to mill the lumber and to carry the logs and all of that. So what I'm talking about right now is salvaging material. These are beams that were going to be thrown away, and I cut them up and I'm building this shed out of them because I've invested money in the past in equipment. I don't want to invest money today in this building. I want to salvage as much material as I can to make it. Obviously, I had to buy the concrete. I have to buy nails and screws and things like that. So I'll tally it all up at the end, but I'm going to spend very little on this. Now, what we're going to do today is finish the headers and reinforce the headers. In the last video, I got my headers put up right here. And a lot of people were concerned because I put a single 2x6 up across a fairly long span. This bay right here is 13 foot. And I nailed them in with a framing nailer. And people were making correct statements that lacked the context of me explaining what I plan to do. So the way this is currently setting is not a sufficient header for a roof that is covering a building with 12 by 12 or larger bays. So today I'm going to show you my plan of how I'm going to make that strong enough to support this roof. But before we do that, we're going to get headers put across the back. I hope this doesn't come across like I'm complaining about these comments, because there are a lot of good, helpful comments, including the comments about me notching these posts out and setting the beams on it. Those are great comments with good information, and I have a response for later. But there was another set of comments saying, why are you carrying your boards up ladders? You have a perfectly good tractor to hold your board up. Well, there's about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 foot of gap there where I don't have enough reach to put that header up. Now, there's always other options. I could flip my forks over, or I could strap the board on, but it also wasn't that difficult to do it the way I did it. Now on this side, it's shorter and the tractor will reach. And I have an additional challenge that it's going to be hard to put a ladder on this, because I don't know if you can tell, but that's a pretty steep slope right there. There were also comments about water drainage, and we'll talk about that at the end too. The deal is, sometimes I have a plan for this stuff, but I don't talk about it because the videos already have too much talking. Not enough working, too much talking, and then I still don't say everything. All right, let's get some boards put up. I've already got the 2 big ladders over there, but with this slope, I can't really set those ladders up very good. It's one nice thing about this kind of ladder. It's got a lot of adjustment for uneven areas. You've got the different notches that you can click this main section in, but then additionally, there's leveling feet on the bottom with probably 8 inches of travel or something to split the difference between rungs if you don't need a whole rung of height difference. I'll give that whole speech and then it won't work out on the hill. Need to find that roll of string and use that to mark the height so I get the same height on both ends. I took it with me when I leveled that pool. Man, I misplace everything. Obviously, I already had these boards on the end set at the right height for the back of the header. So I'm just putting this strap even with the top of that, and that'll run all the way down and give me a mark to go off of. I was gonna use a chalk line, but I couldn't find one, couldn't find my string. I just grabbed some of this strapping. I guess the story here is I should organize my stuff better. Another thing about the comments saying I should use the tractor to lift those boards, you guys were dead right. I had a bad back just this week, not every day, but the last week, and it's feeling better now. But why was I walking up the ladder carrying something? This is easier on my back, but it's not faster maneuvering a board around with a tractor back and forth to get it close to the right height. Then too much overhang on one side, it was trying to fall off. I'm doing 18 inches of overhang on these. I decided to put it up, then mark it, then cut it off instead of marking it and cutting it from the ground. That's why I know I'm not messing up. Forgot to adjust my saw depth. I had it set to just barely cut through. You guys can probably tell that I don't get in any hurry. And some of you may say, well, man, this guy never is going to get anything done as slow as he works. I worked in a lot of production environments for a lot of years, and I was paid based on how many units I could make per hour. Make an extra 10 units, make an extra $2 per hour kind of thing. The reason I do this instead is I don't want to rush. I'm not paid by the hour to do this. I have no timeline on completion. Hopefully I'm not wasting your time with videos where I don't accomplish as much. But as we get older, I think a lot about peace. And I try to go through my whole life without ever feeling rushed. And that's a blessing. Green Acres is the place to be. Here's another thought. You guys aren't probably learning how to put up a woodshed from watching my videos. This is not really a how-to kind of thing, but you didn't watch Gilligan's Island to learn how to sail. Gilligan was just funny. Hopefully I'm like Gilligan. It was a 3-hour tour. I think this would make a better show if I could get Mary Ann and Ginger on camera. The only ladies I've got here don't like being seen. And I can't blame them. You'd have to be an extreme narcissist to want everything you do put on the internet. So now we have a header up at each end. Those headers are what the rafters will set on. I'm going to use rafter ties to attach the rafters to those headers. But as I said at the beginning, and as you guys said in the comments, a single 6x6 on each end is not enough. And I could have done a double header there. And what I am going to do is a double header, but I'm going to do a different type of doubled up header. So the comment about notching the post and setting that in is absolutely right. That would have been stronger. And I didn't feel like getting up there on the ladder with the chainsaw and trying to carve those out properly. And that's probably just laziness, and I should have done it. But it would have required me to cut the tops first. And cutting the tops is its own step. My receiver had quit on my transit level, and I didn't have a regular laser level. I could have went and got one, but I just made the decision not to do that. It would have been better if I had. But what I'm going to do to make up for it is a several step process. Number one, my plan the entire time is to have a header on the outside that you already see. Set the rafters up, tie them in with rafter ties. All the rafters are up, slide a second header up on the inside. So that second header is not relying on the first header's fastening points. It will be attached from the inside. Then you've got a double header that's split. And the reason I didn't put them up at the same time is with the angle of your rafters, one will be set a little higher than the other, and I don't want to try to estimate that. So both ends will get a double header, but you're still relying on 2x6s across a long span, and doubled up headers would be stronger than two single headers, and a 2x10 would be great. But I'm going to reinforce these in a couple different ways. So let's take a look at that. Most of this wood has a treated side and an untreated side, or a less treated side. I'm putting that blackened treated side towards the outside as much as I can. So my next way to add strength, I could buy a bunch of lag bolts. But lag bolts are expensive if you're putting them all over the building, and multiple, and they're long, heavy, thick lag bolts. This wood is the cutoff from over here. I'm just going to put these right here and nail these up. So now the concern people had that those nails might bend and let that pull down, and it might not give me the strength that I needed to hold the roof up. Now, the holding power of that is held by 5 times as many nails across a longer section. And that right there will give it quite a bit of strength. Yeah, somebody in my first video about this build, somebody said I was making an excellent how not to build one of these videos. I like to be real. Sometimes you guys say I'm too hard on myself, but I'm just being real. This is a woodshed. It's just to put some wood in. And really, I'm building it more than anything else because I feel like building something. I just feel like it. So, the truth is, I don't care if I'm not doing everything right. But here's the problem with making up your building technique as you go. I thought I had a plan, which was to run angle braces up to there on all of my headers, and that will strengthen those headers, and they're not covering as much of a span. The problem with the way I was going to put them up is they would be on top of these boards right here. They would be on top of this, and I can't have anything on top of this because this is the thickness out that my bridging boards are gonna run. What are those called? They're not girts. They're not purlins. They're not girts. I don't know what they're called, but my horizontal boards that my siding attaches to will stick out this distance, so I can't put anything on top of it. So these diagonal boards need to go on the inside. The alternative with that angled board is I could cut the right angle on each end and then kind of toenail it or screw it in like that. I feel like it's a lot stronger doing it this way. Okay guys, I see about 4 different ways to do this and make it strong enough. I had one plan, and that plan's not really gonna work the way I wanted it to. But I see several different ways I can do it here. I've watched a bunch of videos from other creators lately, including Adam from Hometown Acres showed a type of bookshelf framing, and I'd never heard of that. Brad from Piney Grove Homestead showed a type of bookshelf framing. And then Lucas Peak showed a type of bookshelf framing, and they were all slightly different in how they did it. And I think I want to use that bookshelf framing, and it could kind of eliminate the need for these cross braces. So I stopped and I called those guys and I asked them what they thought about my different ideas. I was just on FaceTime with my buddy Lucas, asking him how I thought I should do this, and he gave me some good ideas. I'm going to try one of them like this. I'm going to get your feedback and everyone else's feedback on whether or not this type of corner brace is going to give it the strength that I'm talking about. And I want someone else to look at what I've done here before I repeat it on all the corners. But let's go ahead and do one. Okay, so what do you guys think about this? I'm questioning how much strength this adds here with it being just toenailed in. You could countersink a hole here and then run a long screw. That would be better. If I decide to put braces like this on all the corners, I think I'll drill a hole right here and then run like a 6 or an 8-inch lag screw up into it. And then it would have that strength. The other thing is I'm using wood siding, not metal siding. This is going to be board and batten. So I'll have, solid rough cut siding coming up this to also give strength here, tie this in, and bring it all together. But I'm still just not sure if this is how I should be doing it. Maybe I'm worrying about it too much, but I'm gonna wait to make a decision until I hear your comments. So the only other thing I'm gonna do tonight is I'm gonna put the rest of these up all the way around. I want to continue making progress on this every day, but at the same time, I've had kind of a crazy week going. We've been baling hay, and I'm not supposed to show you the hay baling footage yet because we're waiting to make sure there's some availability on the balers in case anybody wants one. And so that's been eating up a lot of my time. I'm trying to sneak out here 3 or 4 hours in the evening and see if I can make some progress on this. And it's not much, but it's progress. And even coming up with a plan of how to do it better next time is progress. So let me know what you guys think about this toenailed in support. How much strength is that going to add to my header? That runs out probably 30 inches to 3 foot, somewhere in that range from here. And it's butted against this, and this is holding that. You've got a triangle. Triangles are the strongest geometric shape. Let me know what you think about the strength of this. And don't use the word code. If you say, well, code says this, I don't care about that. I just want to know what's going to keep my building from falling down and we don't get a bunch of snow. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.